Listen to that sound. That is not a soundtrack. That is the actual recording from NASA's InSight lander. The wind howling across the Martian surface. A dead world screaming into the void. Look at that red dot in the sky. That faint glow we call the god of war. For centuries we imagined cities there, canals carved by ancient civilizations, green valleys and flowing rivers. We saw hope, a second Earth, a backup plan for humanity. But Mars is not hope. It is a graveyard, a frozen corpse of a world that once breathed, that once flowed with water, that once held the possibility of life. And then something went catastrophically wrong. Mars didn't just die, it was murdered. Stripped bare by solar wind, its oceans boiled into space, its rivers turned to dust. What remains is not a planet. It is a warning carved in rust. Welcome to the deadliest trap in our solar system. From Earth, Mars looks close, manageable, familiar. It is the fourth planet from the Sun, just beyond our orbit, only 225 million kilometers away on average. We have sent dozens of missions there, rovers that crawl across its surface, orbiters that map every crater. We talk about colonization like it is just a matter of engineering and funding, but Mars kills everything we send, not through malfunction, through patience. In 2018, a dust storm the size of North America swallowed the planet. The skies went black. Temperatures plummeted. NASA's Opportunity rover, which had been exploring Mars for 15 years, sent one final transmission. My battery is low. It's getting dark. Then silence. Mars suffocated it, slowly, deliberately. The surface of Mars is not soil. It is rust. The entire planet is oxidized metal, a chemical graveyard advertising its own decay. Billions of years ago, water split apart in the thin atmosphere. Hydrogen escaped into space. Oxygen stayed behind and reacted with iron in the ground. The planet rusted. Every grain of Martian dust is a reminder of water that once existed and is now gone forever. Mars is not red from nature. It is red from death. Mars was not always a graveyard. Carved into its surface are the scars of a world that once lived. Dried riverbeds stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Ancient shorelines mark where waves once crashed against beaches. Deltas, lake beds, valleys carved by rivers that flowed for millions of years. 3.8 billion years ago, if you stood on Mars, you would see an ocean. A vast body of water covering the entire northern hemisphere, possibly over a kilometer deep. You would see clouds, rain, blue skies. Mars was Earth's twin, warm, wet, habitable. And then the core went cold, without warning, without mercy. Mars's magnetic field collapsed. The invisible shield that protected the atmosphere vanished overnight in geological terms. Solar wind, a relentless stream of charged particles from the sun, began its work. It stripped the atmosphere away, one atom at a time, like a sculptor slowly erasing a masterpiece. Without atmospheric pressure, the water began to boil. Not from heat, from vacuum. The oceans evaporated into space. The rivers dried up. The air thinned to nothing. Over hundreds of millions of years, Mars bled to death in the solar wind, and it never stopped. Right now, at this very moment, Mars is losing 100 grams of atmosphere every second. It has been dying for 4 billion years, slowly, inevitably, and there is nothing that can save it. Martian dust is not like Earth dust. It is jagged, sharp, electrostatically charged. It clings to everything. Spacesuits, solar panels, camera lenses. It gets into seals, into joints, into lungs, and it is poison. Martian dust contains perchlorates, chemical compounds that would destroy your thyroid if you breathed them, that would disrupt your metabolism if you ingested them. There is no rain to wash it away, no wind strong enough to smooth its edges. Every particle is a microscopic blade, unchanged for billions of years. And then there are the storms. Mars has the largest dust storms in the solar system. They start small, regional disturbances in the thin atmosphere, but they grow. Within weeks, a regional storm can engulf the entire planet, blocking out the sun for months. The sky turns orange, then brown, then black. Temperature drops, visibility goes to zero, everything stops. This is what killed Opportunity. Not a mechanical failure, a planetary execution. A storm that covered the world, that blocked the sun, that drained the batteries. Mars doesn't kill with violence, it kills with patience. It waits until you are vulnerable, then it suffocates you in darkness. Mars has two moons, Phobos and Deimos, fear and panic. They are not like our moon, they are misshapen rocks, captured asteroids orbiting far too close to the planet. Phobos, the larger moon, is about 22 kilometers across, covered in craters, shaped like a potato, and it is dying. Every century, Phobos drops 1.8 meters closer to Mars. Tidal forces are dragging it down, slowly, inevitably. In 50 million years, Phobos will cross the Roche limit, the point where Mars's gravity becomes stronger than the moon's own structure. It will shatter. The fragments will spread into a ring around Mars, a temporary halo of debris. Mars will briefly have rings like Saturn, a crown of destruction orbiting a dead world. And then the fragments will fall, one by one, raining down onto the surface over millions of years. Deimos will drift away, escaping Mars's gravity entirely. Mars will be moonless, alone, a dead planet in the dark, with no witnesses. We talk about colonizing Mars, building domes, growing food, creating a second home for humanity. But Mars is not a frontier. It is a death trap. The atmosphere is 1% the pressure of Earth's. Too thin to breathe, too thin to block radiation. Standing on Mars without a spacesuit, your blood would boil in 15 seconds. Not from heat, from pressure. The average temperature is minus 60 degrees Celsius. At the poles, it drops to minus 125 degrees Celsius. And the radiation. Without a magnetic field, cosmic rays and solar particles bombard the surface constantly. A human on Mars would absorb 245 millisieverts of radiation per year, equivalent to 20 chest X-rays every single month. Long-term exposure guarantees cancer. And then there is gravity. Mars's gravity is 38% of Earth's. We don't know if that is enough, if bones will stop deteriorating, if muscles will stop wasting away. If it is not enough, then anyone who grows up on Mars can never return to Earth. Their bodies would be too weak to survive 1G. Mars colonization is not expansion, it is exile. You don't go to Mars and stay human. You go to Mars and become something else. Or you die trying. Mars sits there, 225 million kilometers away, rust red and silent. We look at it and see potential, a second chance, a backup plan for humanity. But Mars looks back and offers no comfort. It is a planet that once had everything Earth has: rivers, oceans, a thick atmosphere, maybe even life. And it lost everything because its core went cold. The magnetic field died, the atmosphere bled into space, the oceans evaporated. What remains is a frozen desert where dust storms can darken the sky for months, where the average temperature would kill you in minutes, where radiation slowly destroys anything exposed to it. Mars is not an anomaly, it is a preview. What happened to Mars can happen to any planet, including Earth. Mars is not a second home, it is a graveyard, and we are planning to build cities on top of the bones. Nothing about Mars is normal, because Mars is what happens when a planet's defenses fail, and the universe does not care. Listen to that sound. That is not a soundtrack. That is the actual recording from NASA's InSight lander. The wind howling across the Martian surface. A dead world screaming into the void. Look at that red dot in the sky. That faint glow we call the god of war. For centuries we imagined cities there, canals carved by ancient civilizations, Green valleys and flowing rivers. We saw hope, a second Earth, a backup plan for humanity. But Mars is not hope. It is a graveyard, a frozen corpse of a world that once breathed, that once flowed with water, that once held the possibility of life. And then something went catastrophically wrong. Mars didn't just die, it was murdered. Stripped bare by solar wind, its oceans boiled into space, its rivers turned to dust. What remains is not a planet. It is a warning carved in rust. Welcome to the deadliest trap in our solar system.